The national debt is completely out of control. I've given up on it. I just say keep running debt. We're going to get screwed into the ground. No one wants to be the bad guy. To cut back on programs, and you'll lose every election. Any president that suggests cutting any of our entitlements, automatic loser. Kevin O'Leary has a brilliant plan. It will work. Revealed at the end, but here's the setup first. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Let's watch Kevin O'Leary on Fox News.
What's changed the cost of housing is the rapid increase 2 years ago in interest rates. And the anticipation was that rates would come down. In fact, only 12 months ago, we were thinking 7 rate cuts, of which none have appeared because inflation remains rampant. We're still north of 3%.
You can't cut the rates, or the interest or the inflation will get even worse. And it's the worst it's been in recent years. So that's not going to work as a solution, Kevin O'Leary says.
So housing is adjusted based on a very simple equation to interest rates. And they're high or higher than they were. So mortgages are that 7, 8, 9%, depending on your economic status. And that's a lot more than 3.5% 4 years ago. So that's why housing costs have basically gone up 30, 40%.
And that makes having a home around you more expensive than ever, including rentals, because rentals are just, a home with lots of rooms that one guy owns that he has to rent out and raise the prices on. So it gets passed down to the consumer no matter what. It's flat out harder to live, whether if you're in a house or a rental, but especially a house. And that affects the entire economy. But anyways, this is just setting up the groundwork. Housing is one place where it's a disaster for Biden.
And it's really hard to see that change. I'm not sure that's going to change at all. And then we had this weird outcome of the pandemic where people started moving away from metropolitan areas into areas, more where they wanted to live and get better schools and everything else. And the prices of those houses in rural regions went way through the roof. It's a new America. It's a digitized America, and housing's more expensive.
So housing's more expensive even out here in Franklin, Tennessee, because so many people from California and New York and rich areas moved here. I moved here from California. That's true across all of America. There's some of the rural areas, because now you have internet connection for your work post-pandemic. You can bring those rich people and spread them around the country, and they ruin every economy they get into. They raise the prices for average people.
There's 3 aspects to inflation that really hurt you at the voting poll. And here's what it is. It's energy on transportation, so that's oil and gas. It's housing, which we just talked about. And then it's food. Now, it's protein, chicken, fish, steak. Those are the ones that have not gone down in value since the pandemic. They're up 30, 38%. And you're seeing it really change the lives of fast food restaurants and everything else. Those 3 attributes are not good for the incumbent.
Now, that's just real quick dipping into Joe Biden before we go to Kevin O'Leary's big answer on reducing the debt. This is about why Biden is crushed, and we have to keep working to crush him, guys. I've seen people in the comments say, hey, quit talking about how much we're winning. People are going to kick back and rest. No, we still vote and fight like our lives depend on it. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's victory lap. I'm trying to just show you that we run forward with a howl on our voice because we've got the enemy running, and you do not let them up.
Well, what is the right kind of mix of more revenue versus spending cuts, or should we just abandon this notion of a balanced budget? Is that just kind of a fool's goal to have, that we're going to have a balanced budget in mine and your lifetime?
Yeah, and I had given up on this until I heard this answer from Kevin O'Leary. Listen, this will work, totally feasible, not a long shot, will totally 100% work if we do it. And I want to start spreading this around as our big plan to reduce the debt, okay? Just memorize this.
I'm going to give you an example of 2 countries that solved this problem. Canada was one, and Norway was the other. And they did different path. They both had massive energy reserves. And there's a reserve in America, in Alaska, called ANWR. It's one of the largest reserves of oil on Earth, untapped, unused.
Untapped and unused because of Democrat leadership. First thing you have to do, first plan, remove Democrat leadership, move in Trump, who is pro-oil, pro-drilling, pro-Anwar reserve. So that's going to be step one, and it's coming. It's going to happen.
And so what the Canadians did is they put a royalty on it, same time as the Norwegians did. But the Norwegians put into their law that all the royalties, they charged a royalty per barrel. Every dollar of that had to be spent reducing deficit.
So that's the number two part of the plan. Once Trump is in place, is pass a law so that every dollar, the profit or royalty that comes out of that Anwar oil reserve goes to pay down the debt. No one can touch it. You cannot drill in Anwar unless it goes to pay down the debt.
The Canadians didn't do that. They let the government spend it any way they wanted to, and of course governments waste money and they just squandered their wealth. But if you look today at what Canada has versus Norway, Canada is one of the highest in debt per capita nations on earth. But Norway, they're winners. Anwar for America is what's going to solve this problem.
That is a prediction. It's a plan. It might be the only way to solve this thing, but I really like it because he's not just, oh, we really got to solve this problem. He went specifics, guys. This is something you can remember and pass on and tell this to your congressman, and we can formalize it into law. So that's what I like about this one. It's realistic. It could work. We're not tapping into Anwar. You open it up, take all the money, pay down the debt. I'm Doug in Exile.